Well, world, you're joining me at the Stop Starving Gaza March. This is September the 6th, 2025. Genocide still going on, and we're marching against it. Free Palestine. Stop the genocide.
End apartheid.
End apartheid.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine. Viva, viva la Palestina. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Viva, viva la Palestina. She'll be free from the river to the sea, from the river to the sea. Palestine! Occupation no more! Israel is a terror state! Occupation no more! Israel is a terror state! Terror state! Terror state! Terror state! Terror state!
Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free!
School students, we've done it before, we fought back, we walked out against the war in Iraq, we walked out as part of the international climate strikes, and we can do it again on Wednesday the 17th of September. Let's show that young people are prepared to fight for a future free of all Donald Trumps and his ilk, free of war, of climate crisis. Let's fight instead for a future for decent jobs, homes, free education for all, a world that is free of war, of all oppression and exploitation.
Human rights is being eroded all around the world. And we will never ever stop speaking out as a movement. We will never ever stop asking whether UK-made weapons are still being used to kill hungry people standing at 8 queues. We will never ever stop speaking out against arms or technologies sent to Israel to kill children or to bomb refugee camps.
Colleagues, as we protest today against Israeli apartheid and the racist nature of the Israeli regime, I'm sure we're all alarmed at what we've witnessed in our own country in recent weeks. Protests and harassment against asylum seekers and refugees right outside the places they are being housed in. Mosques have been vandalised, and we've even seen attacks on Palestine protests and Palestine stalls in different towns around the country. A constant drip of a racist narrative, blaming foreigners and migrants for the failings of our government. And much of this is disgracefully being fueled by our own government ministers, including Keir Starmer, who talks of us being an island of strangers. I look out here today and I say this is no island of strangers.
Whoa!
Thank you. Thank you for coming out. Before I start, I need you to raise your voices so the war criminal in Downing Street can hear you. Sanctions now! Sanctions now! Sanctions now! Sanctions now! Sanctions now! They know that only sanctions will force the Israelis to stop this genocidal war. A genocidal war that has reached the final solution. To starve people into a famine and then bomb them so that the wounded are unable to heal. Their bodies, emaciated by starvation, cannot withstand even the slightest injury. So unless there are sanctions imposed on Israel now, today, and not the false promise of some recognition that will come to the Palestinians in the future, this genocide will continue. Those who promise recognition of a Palestinian state without saying that this will happen with sanctions are just trying to buy the Israeli genocidal machine more time so that it can kill more children.
Enough is enough! We have had enough! If you've watched the television set, if you know that over 63,000 people have been killed, surely enough is enough. If children queuing for food have been shot in the leg one day, in the arm the other day, that is psychopathic behavior.
Yeah.
If you don't call it out, you are a psychopath. It is inhumane. It is absolutely inhumane, and we must not stand by and watch that happen. And that's why I'm here to thank you. Thank you for coming out and marching to make sure you hold parliamentarians like me to account, to make sure the media can't ignore you. They say nobody cares. That's a lie. We all care. I passed somebody in the march today holding up a sign saying, "My name is Stuart and I used to be a racist." That is fine. You don't always have to be a racist. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the resistance. The revolution will be televised and you are part of the revolution. So thank you very much.
700 days where the world has failed to end the slaughter of children, this mass murder of women, men executed in cold blood in front of their families. My friends, I have just returned from the homeland, from the West Bank. Israel's campaign of erasure there is just as deliberate and is advancing every day. In Gaza, erasure is executed through bombs, imposed famine, total destruction and mass displacement. In the West Bank, it is through walls, checkpoints, settler terrorism.
Shame on them!
Armed by the state, the terrorist state of Israel. More than 100 Palestinians is killed every day. The entire Gaza Strip has been reduced to concentration camps on top of rubble. Children starved to death. Children like Zainab Abu Halib. Zainab weighed 3 kilos when she was born. She died at 2 kilos because of the starvation. The killers of Zainab will be behind bars. They will face the full force of the law and justice. Lock them up! Lock them up! And the killers of Zainab and the thousands of innocent children are the real terrorists. You want to know about terrorism? It is that. That is terrorism.
Thank you. Thank you, my friends. Thank you all for being here on this 30th national demonstration. More than 200,000 of us on the streets of London. And my message to anyone that's sweating away in Downing Street wondering if there's anybody left who wants to be a minister in the government. We will be here as long as it takes until you change your policies. Change your policies and act in the interests of humanity, not in the interests of the greed of the arms manufacturers of this world. As I've said at previous demonstrations, we tried to get a bill through Parliament to set up an independent public inquiry into British government policy. They opposed it, they blocked it, and they said they wouldn't have such an inquiry. And so we held our own tribunal over the last 2 days. We held it in Church House, Westminster, and I want to say a huge thank you to Niamh Gordon and Shahid Hamouri for joining me as the people assessing the evidence we took. We heard from 29 expert witnesses. A report will be produced, a video will be produced, and many of you were probably following it online over the 2 days. It was, for any observer, a deeply harrowing experience, as we had brilliant, dedicated people giving witness statements of what they'd seen going on. Victoria Rose, a brilliant medic who was there with the wonderful Nick Maynard, who spoke earlier, described how operating on children without anaesthetic or indeed even antiseptic, she said, all you could hear all night afterwards was the screaming voices of children in the recovery room trying to cope with the horrendous pain they've been through. And they had absolutely nothing at all to give them, not even a paracetamol to try and reduce that pain. We had Mark Smith, a very brave man who used to work in the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. He was told to dumb down reports because they were too horrific of what was being described of what was going on in Palestine with the use of British weapons. He refused to be told what to say and what to write, so he resigned his position in order to keep his integrity. We heard from a brilliant American academic, Raz Segal, who spoke to us online from the USA and described what is happening in Gaza, and I use his words, textbook genocide. And he spoke on behalf of an association of genocide scholars. We heard from Matt Kennard, who's done so much brilliant work in supporting the Palestinian people, who provided us with a video and information about what is actually happening at RAF Akrotiri. But he also told us that the bases in Cyprus owned by the Cypriot government are also being used as part of the support mechanism to the Israeli armed forces. That makes Cyprus also complicit in the genocide that is going on in Gaza. This was confirmed also by Nikos Charmousselitis from Cyprus, who has been part of the campaign to close down RAF Akrotiri. And what Matt was able to tell us was that the circular flights over Gaza indicate that all that information is nothing to do with humanitarian interest or observation, which is what David Lammy told me only 5 days ago. It's all about providing backup information to assist the IDF in guiding its F-35 jets in their genocidal missions of destroying people's homes in Gaza. The truth came out in our tribunal this week. We also heard from Faiz Khan, solicitor for James Henderson's family, James Henderson, an aid worker who was killed in Gaza. He asked the RAF to provide the information on the flights they had taken, which would show what was happening on the ground at the time that poor James lost his life. He's been refused that information and refused that to assist him in trying to get the truth about his client's death there. We also heard from Francesca Albanese about complicity in war crimes. And I think we should just pause for a moment and thank Francesca Albanese for her bravery in speaking out always on all of this. And we heard also from Isle Weitzman, from Forensic Architects, who made a superb and brilliant presentation and was able to point out that the Riviera plan that President Trump has in line for Gaza is not some dream for the future. What he told us was it's actually happening now. No. The clearing of areas along the border between Gaza and Israel, the bombardment and destruction of all the large buildings in Gaza City, the creation of planning zones, and also pointed out that the hardcore that's being moved around and used by the Israeli Defense Force, they haven't bothered even to search it for the bodies that are in it. The foundations of those buildings will literally contain the bones and blood of Palestinians who've been murdered by the genocide. That is the horror story that's going on. We heard from many, many others who gave incredible witness statements, and they will all be available in the video, in the report, and online. You heard just now from Abu Bakr Abed, wonderful young man who's suffered grievously and still suffers because he's dreaming every single moment of his wonderful family in Gaza and wondering if they are surviving. But what he said to me, and he said at our inquiry, was that if the world's media had done their job properly, the genocide would have stopped last year. Because basically, much of the world's media companies are actually complicit in what is going on. And whilst we got quite good coverage of the tribunal this week, there was one thing that was missing on Thursday, on the day of the tribunal. Not one word on the BBC. Not one word. Every other outlet carried either a report or some live coverage of it. And so we are here again, and we'll be here again and again. The reality is, children are being killed and starved to death. Genocide is taking place. Britain is complicit in what is going on by the supply of weapons and political support. The President of Israel is apparently due here this week. I think he's on the wrong flight. He should be on his way to The Hague, not here. And so all over the world we march, we protest, we take part in peaceful action to try to stop this horrible genocide going on. And I've just learnt a new figure today, that across the world, the followers add up to 1 billion of those people on social media who support the Palestinian cause. We're not isolated, we're not a minority, we're not some odd end of the operation. We are central to the survival of the Palestinian people. That's why protest matters, that's why our voices matter, and that's why we will never ever go away. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jeremy.
Well, world, it's been a pretty exhilarating afternoon so far. I'm in Parliament Square. I'm just standing back a tiny bit. Maybe it's because I'm a bit of a coward, really. But there are arrests going on around me as I speak now. People holding Palestinian action signs, being carried out of the crowd. It's very peaceful. There's no aggression, there's no violence whatsoever. And I think that kind of just shows how morally depraved it is to arrest people for supporting an action group that sprayed red paint on an RAF fighter jet, but they're not arresting the people that are spraying red paint on our roundabouts in the name of racism and bigotry. So 200,000 people plus turned up to this protest today. There was a small pro-Zionist contingent that tried to out-noise us, but there were 200,000 of us, and we walked past peacefully. Nothing untoward happened, but we remain absolutely strong in our message. Stop this genocide, stop arming Israel, boycott, divest, and sanction Israel. With that, remember to like, subscribe, share if you dare, consider a super thanks to make more videos like this possible, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.